Yes, first of all, talk about how practice is going this week.
I think pretty good. We've had good preparation. We had a little more Sunday practice than normal because of the Thursday night game and having some preparation on Friday and Saturday. And, you know, I've been pretty pleased with where we are, continuing to you know, improve our football team and take some steps forward. So I've been pretty pleased.
Will, is there a different mentality going into a game like this where you know you're just going to get hit in the mouth early and often with an Arkansas team?
Well, it's mostly in our league. That's what it is about every week, you know, if you really want to look at it. But, no, they have a very physical football team, you know, massive offensive line. Alex Collins is a great back, not a good back. You know, Brandon Allen's an experienced starter in our league, but can make all the throws. They've had their share of injuries on the perimeter, but they certainly have had guys step up for them. I think Hunter Henry's as good a player at the tight end position as there is in the country. So they are, and Sprinkle's done a nice job for them as well. So they certainly have weapons. They've recruited well. They got good players. They've got a good scheming system. They have all the play actions off all the run games that they have to create run-pass conflicts for you. So we've certainly got our work cut out for us.
Well, that play action off their run game, how difficult does that make it for a defense as well as they do it?
Well, you know, when you're in man-to-man, it's one thing, and when you're in zone and you've got to match, you know, over routes and things like that are very difficult to handle. And they do a really nice job of creating over routes and making, you know, defenders match from zone to zone, especially in the deep part of the field. So those are things that they do a very good job of because of their running game. They create a lot of issues for you.
Well, what did you see looking back at the tape of last game?
Well, I thought we played, you know, you never want to come out of a great game given a 60-yard run, but we did play blocks better up front. You know, if we make a tackle in the backfield and we leverage the ball right, that doesn't happen. You're at 2.6 of carry for the game, you know, but you can't ever get one back. There's no redos on game day. So, but we did play blocks better up front. So that was the biggest improvement that we needed to see with our football team, and very proud of our guys in a situation to go and make a play there at the end on the last drive to win the game.
How do you deal with the third down, third and longs? How do you?
Again, you go back and you look individually at every situation. You look at 3rd and 22. We're in a zone down. They put formation to the boundary. They want to take a shot to Baker to the field. You get a quarter, half look to stay out of middle field coverage so they don't get the shot to the big guy they want. You got the matchup you want. You know, I've got to do a better job of explaining to our players what 3rd and 22 means. So stay on top of the coverage in those situations. You know, we have a 3rd and 11 situation. We got the exact rush we want, and 2 times in the game when the quarterback pump fakes, we leave our feet. How many times have you seen anybody bat a ball down when they leave their feet? 0. So you don't leave your feet when you're rushing the quarterback because that's what they want you to do, especially an athletic guy like Tolles. So we lose the edge, and we're in man coverage, and they scramble for a 12-yard gain. On the empty route, they did a nice job with the route. I mean, that was a nice route for what we had called defensively, so it was a good job on their part. We were soft on the coverage in the first 3rd down coming out of halftime. We should have been tighter in the coverage in that situation. So I believe that was 4 of the 5 3rd down conversions. In one situation on a pass interference, and it was a good call on the official's part. We've got the receiver doubled in the slot. They got exactly what we want. There's no reason to even move from an outside in and hook the receiver. They have no reason to do that. You have inside help. Just stay outside. He's going to come back to you, and they got nowhere to go with the ball. And then in another situation, we've got to work ourselves in phase and play the ball down the field. And we didn't do that in that situation. And if there's going to be contact, they're going to throw the flag on that all the time. But, you know, work yourself back in phase. It was an inside fade from the slot. It's a tougher ball than it is when it's an outside ball. It's an underthrown deep ball, which is the hardest deep ball to play. So, you know, we just got to work ourselves in phase and make a play on the ball.
As I'm sure you know, Arkansas the last couple of years, they've been on the forefront of a hurry up versus slow it down debate.
They're running tempo now.
But they're running tempo now. What do you think of that?
I don't know. That's the head coach. I don't know. No, they do a nice job of huddling, of coming to the line of scrimmage, getting in the look they want, and then they're going to get on the ball and snap it. And they lull you to sleep in the game, you know, like some other teams in our league do, and you get in that comfort zone instead of being alert and getting back at something we've repped at practice and hope it carries to game day. I feel like it will. So. But I think that, you know, you're always trying to create an advantage for yourself on either side of the ball, and certainly I think it's helped them.
Is it a little bit different from other teams, the way they mix that, as you said?
Well, it's totally different because your awareness as a defensive player is certainly more in tone You know, when you're playing a no-huddle team, you're on the ball, whether it's fast or it's look back or whatever it is, but as long as they're on the ball, you're on the ball. As opposed to a team that's huddling, and all of a sudden they're sitting on the ball, and you got to be ready to go play. And that's what's different. It's just a different sense of urgency. We've repped it, and we've, you know, should be prepared for it on game day, and I feel like our guys will handle it well.
How big was Carlton Pick in the end zone? I know guys
Oh,
picked
huge.
on him a little bit as a freshman. He made
Huge play. You know, he's been in position to make those plays of it. It's different when you're standing 3 yards from the guy and they're catching the ball. So he's been in some 50-50 situations, and the more reps he continues to get, the game's going to continue to slow down for him. But it was a well-played ball, and it was a nice thrown ball. He did a nice job of sliding the receiver in coverage. He's got a lot of confidence, and he'll continue to build his confidence as a player moving forward. So I thought it was a really good play. It was a huge momentum play for us. We played better in the red zone than we've played the last couple of weeks.
Well, despite the yards, how do you feel about the progress you're making overall defensively as you go along?
Well, you know, again, it's about winning and losing games. We're 4-2. We've had 2 other opportunities to go on the field and play well enough to win, and we didn't get it done defensively. That's the way I've got to look at it. I don't get into stats. I'm just not a big stat guy. I think that they are sometimes can be very revealing of where you are. Sometimes I think they can be a little misleading of where you are. So we just got to continue to move forward, continue to improve our football team. That's what we plan on doing.
Any stats right now that are misleading, you think, for your team?
Well, you know, I think that at times, you know, in the run game especially, you take some early running game against Louisville, you know, with totally different pace of quarterback that we certainly expected to see in the game. Quarterback run game, something the body's not been accustomed to as far as those things are concerned. Certainly was a guy that's out of whack certainly early, and then we faced a lot of those runs since then because it's, you know, most offensive coordinators are a little bit of a copycat to be able to defend those things. So that thing got us out of whack early, but we've improved ourselves in the run game on some things. We've got a big test on Saturday. There's no question about that against a very good offensive football team. So we look forward to that opportunity.
Carl Austin obviously didn't make the trip to LSU, but then he went to Kentucky. I mean, what is he kind of providing on the sidelines there in terms of? Well,
just leadership and experience, and I think a guy that can come over and the guys can talk to him a little bit about what they're seeing, and you know. But again, he's a really good football player, but you know his intangible qualities go very far for our football team.
He was off his crutches. I mean, what are the chances that he comes back this season? I know that you're hoping that he comes back. But
he's on schedule to come back, not this week, but he's a guy that they've had on the field, not practicing at all, but running and doing a lot of the things they're doing with our staff. I believe he met with Dr. Andrews today, so we'll continue to move forward with his, you know, his situation.
So, but no specific timeline right now.
They haven't told me as far as specifically, but we certainly expect him back. You know, and again, unless we have some sort of setback, that's why I don't want to come out and say the date and then, well, what happened? Well, I don't. You know, I think we're dealing with a situation that'll be resolved soon.
What have you seen from Devontae Lambert, especially the last couple of games? He seems to have a little bit more success.
He's played his best 2 games, his last 2 ball games, and you know, played better, more firm in the run game. I think certainly having been through ACL surgeries before with players, it sometimes takes a little bit of confidence of getting back in the swing, going through the grind, going through the soreness, battling through the scar tissue they have in their knee through practice. And you know, we were real careful with him, which we needed to be in camp. It was still not a full year out from his surgery, so especially for a big guy, it's tough to get back off that. But I think he's continuing to gain more confidence in his knee, and his play certainly has been better.
How do you evaluate Jonathan Jones this season? Because when they're seeming to be targeting Carlton more for his inexperience, and Jonathan doesn't get thrown at a lot, and naturally the production's going to fall off. So just how is he doing? I think he's played well. I think the ball that he made on the 1st and 10 throw, no, it wasn't 1st and 10, it was the 3rd down throw. On their sideline was as good a play. It was a catch by their receiver, and the guy that battles a 50-50 ball, works himself in phase on the play, plays the ball, gets the ball out. That's as fine a play. You know, people don't realize how difficult a play that is to play down the field. So I think he's played well. I think that, again, I agree. You know, we had a Mississippi State, I think it was a 3rd and 4 over on their sideline, well-defended ball down the field. He cut off the receiver, worked himself in phase to play the ball. And I'm just trying to, off the top of my head, trying to think through some other situations in the season.
You know, I think defended a couple deep balls there in the first couple games of the year. So I don't know how much work he's gotten, to be honest with you. That's probably, I guess, you're alluding to. But I think he's played well in his opportunities. Certainly had a chance the other night on an underthrown deep ball. Sometimes, again, like I said, that's the hardest deep ball to play, especially when people are going to back shoulder you nowadays. You really got to play everything out of phase and play through the back shoulder of the ball with your offhand inside out. So those are things that, you know, we continue to work on, but he's in position to make the play, and that's really, at the end of the day, he's been in that situation most of the year.
It's obviously hard to prepare for wet weather, but are you looking forward to maybe playing in an atmosphere like that where it's going to be wet and pouring down rain?
I kind of like sunshine.
Really?
No, it is what it is. I mean, we control the things we can control. We certainly have no control of the weather or any of that. So, you know, I know offense, I think, worked wet ball today. As far as those things, we understand that, you know, the game can change a little bit based on the weather, the wind. All of those things certainly can change how someone will call a game. And that's certainly, we've had discussions about that.
Well, any update on T.J. Davis? Getting closer for him?
Still battling through it, you know. Still, again, coming back, and you know, he just still so, I don't know if he's, what, 7 months now? I think 6.5, 7. So he's still very early in the stages. I mean, he's practicing. I mean, he's going in all of our stuff, and when we go good on good against the offense, he's involved with all that, and continues to build confidence. Yeah.